Yeah, it's Johnny Grube from WildManTraining.com. You know, I often talk about how I like the blue collar work, and I started real young, and I started working when I was 12. I mean, legitimately working. I think I was paying Social Security since 1980, and I think it was only 1 year I didn't pay into Social Security when I was a teenager. And I remember all the physical jobs I had. I worked with people who built houses because back then you could do those things. You could do that in the summertime, and you could work after school, a certain amount of hours, and you could work. It didn't matter what the work was, just as long as the hours were kept under a certain amount. So I worked with a lot of contractors, mostly grunt work. Obviously, I'm a kid, teenager. Carrying rocks, cement. You know, carrying shingles up on roofs for roofers. I mean, it was hot, dirty work, but for some reason, I just loved the environment. Now that I'm older, and what I see, I still wouldn't change it because I still love the environment. I still love the fact that in the environment of a blue collar job, you can still pretty much say what you want. Because the people that are offended by words soon enough will be driven out. Because most of these guys, if they're offended, they can't work in these positions because most men are going to fuck with you. Most men are going to break your balls. I liked it, man. It was fun breaking your balls. It was fun having your balls broken. I mean, it's just the way it was. I remember, and you couldn't do this today. Most of the stuff I'm going to tell you about, you definitely couldn't get away with today. And this is just going to be a couple of stories. When I went to work in the trucking business, I don't give a fuck. I'll tell you what the company was. It was Overnight Transportation, which is now UPS Freight. And I'll tell you what, man, when I first went in there, I was just out of, I was what, 17, 18? I was 18 years old. I get out there, my stepdad worked there, and I went on the dock part-time, needed a job. I got on there, man, I had never expected what I witnessed. It was immediate intimidation. I had two of the biggest guys there. Both were 6'4", and they walked up to me. Now I'm at the time I'm 148 pounds, 150 pounds, no shit, strong as hell though. And these two guys come up to me. They're both 6'4". I stopped. They got on either side of me, and I looked up at them, and I'm like, "Yes, can I help you?" They're like, "Yeah, we're the bookends." I'm like, "What?" Right? It was there to try to see what they were going to get out of me, which didn't work real well. I'm not real easily imitated. I'm not going to be intimidated by anyone. I never was. Anyhow, two of the guys, eventually they figured that out. And I was not one of the people that were fucked with a lot. I mean, we all got fucked with. It didn't matter. I mean, if you showed a fucking weakness, oh, it was all over. I mean, you did not tell anybody a weakness. If you called out sick, oh my God, man, you'd have your balls broke from fucking today until the fucking end of the fucking month. We'd also we'd have to load trailers, and we had a certain amount of weight you had to keep up with hourly. And what they would do is they'd post inside the office where you were, where you ranked, how much you were moving per hour from the top dog to the fucking bum. Man, you did not want to be on the fucking bottom. If you were on the fucking bottom, and you had your balls broke, and eventually these guys usually just quit. They just couldn't keep up. I always kept up to the fucking the 1, 2, or 3. Always. Yeah, I have to be in that fucking position. Okay? I mean, there was guys underneath, but everybody knew who broke everybody. Everybody knew who worked hard. I mean, we had feats of strength. We had wrestling matches. One of the things was if you were moving on to a different position, quitting, and you gave your 2 weeks notice, you would get what we call dock beating. And you never knew when it was going to come. And it would usually be when you were inside a trailer, in the nose, where there was no escape. And then they'd all come in and pile in. There could be 20 people. And they would just kick the shit out of you. I mean, it wasn't like they were in there to really hurt you, but man, you got a fucking beaten. Guys would come out of with bloody noses, black eyes. I remember when I quit. I moved to a different terminal in New Jersey. And I didn't just get one dock beating. I got a couple. And and when I heard them coming, all I did was just cover up and take the abuse. I was picked up, slammed on pallets. I was kicked and elbowed and, oh yeah. And then again, somewhere down the road, I got it again. That's just what happens. And one time, I was up in what we call the dock shack. It was in the middle of the dock. It was so the supervisor could look out and see the whole dock. It was windows around the whole thing, so you could see the back end of the dock, the front end of the dock. And one time, the supervisor up there, he grabbed a hold of me. Somebody announced on the loudspeaker, "I got him! I got him!" And then all you hear is everybody come running up there. Boom, 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 boom. They opened up the door, and they just started kicking the shit out of me. And I knew they were coming. So I started headbutting this guy was a Marine. I started headbutting him in the back of the head so I could have a fucking fighting chance. He would not let me fuck go. Man, they got a hold of me, man, and they just pummeled me. I mean, it was all in fun. And, yeah, you get hurt. It's not a big deal. I mean, you just can't do these things anymore. You cannot do the beatdowns that we used to do or the intimidation or, I mean, I've had guys threaten to stab me. I did have a guy actually go out to his car and get a knife, because you break his balls too much. Like I said, these guys would wind up quitting not too long because they couldn't handle the abuse. And there was a lot of abuse. I mean, there was a guy one time. I mean, it was just fucking cold. It was just cold. And I'll tell you, this was weird. It was not weird, but of course, we thought it was funny. I remember this guy had his girlfriend. She was in a car accident. And this is just some of the things that people would say or could have said. And his girlfriend was in a car accident, and she got paralyzed from the waist down. And I don't know if it was a permanent thing or whatever. One of the guys said, "Hey, man, guess what? Now you can fuck her in the ass and she won't feel it." Yeah, really, that's what he said. I mean, I heard it. I mean, these are just some of the fucked up things that people say. Can you imagine saying something like that today? I mean, some guys just didn't give a fuck. I mean, there was just guys that you did not care whose feelings you hurt. It just didn't matter. And I remember guys would get in a fist fight, go across the street, and turn on their fucking headlights because we worked second shift, and they just fucking beat the fuck out of each other and come back to work later. I mean, it was a great time. I mean, we had a great time. I loved going to work. You never knew what to expect. You knew you were going to have fun. You knew you were going to get your balls broke. You knew you were going to break other people's balls. I mean, we had feats of strength. I mean, everybody was just fucking super competitive. Just super competitive. It didn't matter. I mean, we had football games. We had hockey dock games on Friday nights. We'd close down the dock, and we just have fucking street hockey on the dock and beat the fuck out of each other. I mean, this is what we did. I mean, it was, and of course, I hear the people that still work there now. Of course, you can't do them things now. You hurt people's feelings, and people will get hurt, and people just aren't tough enough to handle that shit anymore. I mean, if you had a fucking big mouth and you couldn't back it up, soon enough, you'd have to fucking back it up or be called out on it. It's just the way it was. So anyhow, I mean, that's just a couple of stories from my time on the loading dock, and I don't know, maybe I'll tell more later.